Hi there, family. This is Joy with Joy to the World, here to do an energy check-in, check-up. So there's some shock blocking going on. I was getting set up to do the read for Aquarius, or mentally I was prepared for that. But I'd already heard some notions of shock blocking. I thought it was pretty funny, of chakras being blocked, but it's more than blocked from within. Shock blocking is external forces coming in to create some chaos going on. And when I went to lay out my nifty little handmade cards here, oh, look what's at the bottom, y'all. Love is here to save the day. So that's what we bring here. Joy is just like the epitome of love, not me. I'm not talking about myself that way. I'm talking about the energy of joy. So anyways, while we're at it, share this with somebody you know who could use it. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and put a thumbs up if you like this, okay? So that being said, this card popped out first, intense pressure, and I was like, okay. I had to stop for a moment and sit with it and think, what's going on? Should I do Aquarius, or is this for the family? And I thought, okay, this is for the fam. So I've laid out different, it's the same setup but a different alignment of cards. So we've got some color cards going on out here that we're going to flow through, and as we do this, we're going to stop the block. We're going to untangle the energies. And it's not that any of the planets or anything are particularly against us. I've had this understanding and discussion that they're all benefic. They're all for our benefit. And that's not just hard lessons or things like that or learning to manage them. It's making friends with them. But what has happened is the energy and the intensity and the way it's coming in, especially with the Mercury retrograde shadow progressing in now, they got tangled. Okay, it's like a bunch of fishermen on a pier fishing near each other, and the wind starts to blow, causing the water to drift. Well, their lines can cross over each other without the fishermen ever moving. So the planets are in their alignment. These energies are in their alignment, but the winds are changing. The energy is shifting, and as it's shifting, their lines have crossed and they've gotten tangled up. So we're here to do a little untangling. I can see by these side cards that came out, Five of Wands, that there's a bit of a struggle going on. Let me get this close enough. Can y'all see? But to me, Five of Wands at its base core is seeking design, seeking order, like putting a halt to the chaos. So it's a great potential for energy, because energy is uprising, but it can get backlashed and twisted upon itself. So we're going to go through this and see what's going on so that we know what to do. Because the Queen of Pentacles came out along with that card. It's knowing what to do, the Queen knowing what to allow in to work for your benefit and what to block out, okay? And again, this is not, I say, advice or guidance. This is simply energy work. I'm an energy worker, as well as a massage therapist, but also intuitive, taking a look here to see what's going on with the family and as we move through it. Always call upon your spirit and your guides to help guide and direct you through what this information is in service to you in your life and your journey, okay? All right, so let's check into what's going on with this intense pressure. Okay, so we've got card number 26, Brilliance. Discover your sparkle. So I see it as an influx of energy. It's coming in. So I don't know the names of all of them beyond the crown, because I just see the layers, and I haven't spent a lot of time talking to people about this. When impressions come through, it doesn't necessarily require language. It just requires acceptance and understanding. But what I'm knowing is up above your crown chakra is this influx of divine energy wanting to come in. And it's alive. It's active. It says discover your sparkle. Well, things that sparkle are alive. They have another party at play. Kind of like champagne, the reason why it bubbles is it has a double fermentation. Wine has one fermentation in which the yeast they end up dying off. They consume all the sugar that is in there. Well, to make champagne, they put yeast in again. And so anyways, it creates this secondary life going on. This is something very active, and in a sense, I see that it's provocative. So don't feel provoked by it, because it is fresh, clean, and pure, and it's coming from source. It is coming down in this direction. So you might be having an intense amount of pressure, feeling like things coming down on you. Just open up at that moment and decide to receive it as your sparkle, as your shine, as your infusion of kind of like a catalyst, kind of charisma. It's this force that it's going to force you out this way. That's what I'm seeing. It's going to initiate some conversations, some connections. So let's see what's going on up under there. Okay, so we have the Hierophant, which I'll take a peek, and I need to study him just a minute more. Dude be sitting on the pot. Okay, time to think and reflect. All right, this is coming as an exchange. This is a displacement, and don't get caught by the word. Let me explain to you, because again, these are experiences that I've had to put words to. So as a kid, I had to do the dishes, and to me, if I had to wash something quite large, there you are putting the soap around, and you're pouring and rinsing. So many times it seemed like futile and exhaustive to keep doing that. So I thought, surely there has to be a better way. What if I can just wait? So I swirl it and wash it around, and then I would just let the water faucet go down. And as the water hit, sure enough, the level of bubbles, they would just be purged from the side and come all the way up and out, and I could watch it happen. As opposed, if I just put some, swirled it, and poured it out, that could go on for ad infinitum. It would seem like 10 minutes to a child for sure. So that's what they're showing me is happening here. Because as this brilliance comes down from up above, you see this darkness over his head. That is what's going to be displaced out of you. And it's not just like darkness, because that's neither good nor bad. It's the emptiness. It's going to displace and purge the emptiness, because if you look closely, there's water coming up from the pot. Okay, so this is going to be reflection. It's going to be like infusing with yourself. That is pretty awesome. I've been talking about this return of our energy, the number 7 coming back to us. But this is almost like, and I know Pluto retrograde was going to be incredibly powerful, that all that we have been pouring in and putting in, filling up the Big Dipper all this while, was going to be returned and poured out. All of our cries, all of our blood, sweat, and tears, all of that intensity, all of that fervency, all that devotion, faith, hope, things that you've really put yourself into is now being poured back into you. It's been cleansed, it's been filtered, and what comes back is inherently you. It is authentic. Okay, so under here, these are the Angelarium. Let me just show you the cover of the book. Look at this guy. Okay, they're fantastic. Angelarium, Oracle of Emanations, and I was told to go pull these out. That's why I kind of knew something was up. But this is Hesmed, the Angel of Annihilation. Okay, you see how above his head and below his feet are the same energy? It's showing me that, like, you wanted to have practicality here. That's what you're asking for. And again, this is an advice. We're activating the energy, which is the best way to connect with you guys, is so that you know your story, you know your journey, you know your hopes, your fears, your dreams, you know what you've been working through, and these are just activations, and it shows it is working here, okay? Because the feet are where our faith, our action, the pinnacle, the roots is coming from, but it is connected with your heart and with your mind. It is connected with your intelligence and your intuition, okay? And I also see the instinct lighting up and centering there, your gut instinct. So you're on the same page with yourself, and it's exalting you. It is like, it's kind of like a blast from a cannon. I see it, and it's not, it's like an ejector seat. I don't know how else to say it, but you're not, you're being transported through a thrust. Like if you have one of those jet packs and you could power up and it puts thrust there. You thrusting forward. Man, you coming off the pot, no longer having to sit here and think about who you are. It is coming up and you are now a fountain of life. Living, active, bubbling, sparkling, second fermentation. This is the thrive. For those of you who thought, oh my God, I didn't think I'd make it. I've been through so much. That's surviving. And you held on not because you wanted to continue to survive, but because you believed there was something better and beyond that. Well, hello, Hasmed. Here it is. All right, you're thrusting forward because you're invigorated with new life. Y'all have chills. Just exciting. So that pressure, let it in. That's something. It's going to purge that emptiness out of you, because that emptiness is very pervasive and it is low and it's sinking and it's settled. And so that's what the pressure is really, it's the grip of that energy going, don't take me out of here. But now that you know the only thing you're losing is the emptiness, all that you poured out all these months, we're talking like October-ish until, what was it, like a month or two ago that Pluto went retrograde. I was told clearly is a fantastic thing. It's when we begin to receive our benefits and our rewards, our return on our investment. It's like a farmer who sows the seed and now the fruit is coming, and the fruit is you. So the next card, let me show it to you guys and then I'll take a look. Thank y'all for being patient while I'm given a second to take an extra look to make sure that we're going with the flow. This says new beginnings, and I see a change in the tide, which would make sense because the moment you're filled with yourself, it's like you're in the driver's seat. And when you're in the driver's seat of your life with this pure divine energy coming in, it is intelligent energy, meaning you know what to do with it, okay? And that change in the tide is, I see, they're hinting at this, that you're moving on to the Six of Wands, to the victory, because that's like an aha moment. It's not just winning. Winning comes is like you have to have the mindset of a winner to win. Man, that's genius. Yeah, it's like the sun right there is shining, going, word up. Wah. So you have the mindset of a winner. That's what's turning here. That's fantastic. Day and night. So it doesn't matter light or dark. Like I said over here, it's not that darkness was an issue. This was heavy because it was emptiness. And so, man, you're at the helm. Let's see what's going to be going on there so that we can open this up. I love it. I love it. Okay, sorry. It's number 35. Sorry, not sorry. Cyan. All right. This for me, it's speaking our truth. It's coming from our throat, but it's not just the ability to speak. It's the ability to connect and to communicate. And the way you connect and communicate is you have to be in yourself. It says build your confidence. So you're in the center of yourself and you're speaking from your higher self. That sounds weird. You're speaking from your future self, your perfect self, your self that sits up in the heavens and in the upper realms, that's like up in the press box. You know, if any of you watch football or sports, there's that upper realm where a set of the coaches can sit up there and look and communicate with the coaches that are down on the field or down on the court, and they're talking back and forth. It has that different perspective, so you'll be able to speak your truth, okay? And not just earth process truth. We're talking a unified truth. We're talking this, right? This being whole and coming all the way down. And so some of y'all, you should begin to even feel physical alignment, like discomfort in the body is going away, like gut issues being solved and it moving through as if you're cleansed and cleared, okay? That's what I see going on here as you align with your truth, because as you speak it, it not only transforms the world around you, it transforms the world in you. And that is what they are wanting. It is being one. It is being one. O-N-E, being as one. So that relieves the pressure. Makes perfect sense when osmotic balance, osmotic pressure, the same, you want the same pressure inside the cell as you do around it. So it keeps the fluids in balance so that you're not too emotional. That way you don't even have to, we used to do so much self-help, self-development, self-growth when we weren't really being taught about these forces and energies moving around us and how to navigate and get in agreement with them, how to be in agreement with ourselves and what is around us, and to walk in our truth and what that really looks like. It's a state of being. Kind of think like E equals MC squared. It's this thing that a lot of people can quote, but we often don't have this innate, intimate connection with it. But here it's saying that that higher self, your higher perspective, your future self, your truth, looking down, guiding you into more of your truth, more of your growth and development. So under here, okay, we have number 8. We have Mayat. Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. Okay, I have a special relationship with her. So anyways, this is the daughter of the sun. So to me, your strength is your illumination. And her arms aren't shown here, nor are her feet. And it could look like she's bound, but she's not. That binding is that devotion to your divinity. That's why we see the wings. That's why we see the notation of flight here. And you see she's not even having to fly with her wings. They just need to be there because in a sense that's like your nervous system. So they're telling me your nervous system moves at the speed of light. It is the fastest communication. Like mankind is working so hard to create a computer or any sort of technology that could come close to a fraction of the miracle of what occurs in the human body, of this magnificent flesh machine, this living being that we are. So it's talking about your illumination, your divine connection, and that's why, where was it? I was saying up here that truth, that strength is day or night, that it doesn't matter. That illumination is within. You're knowing, like it said up here in Cyan, build your confidence. And that confidence goes even a step further because confidence can be pushed up against and challenged. But self-assurance is something that kind of any disturbance in the world around you doesn't even know how to come at that or come up against it. Self-assurance is, it's like this. That's why the arms and feet, the arms and hands, legs and feet aren't being shown, is there's nothing you need to do. It's like the Emperor plus plus, okay, is the best way to describe this card. It's being so in your assurance and so in yourself that not everyone's at your beck and call. It's not like that. But your connection, that oneness that you have here, synergizes and it communicates with the energy around it, and we're all drawn to each other, moving in the same direction. Just like all the tissue organized for the hand is a specific kind of tissue, like stem cell operation. The gut has a certain a quality to it, and all those cells, people of the gut are coming together, people of the hand are coming together, people of the mouth of the truth are coming together, so that we sing in this chorus, this harmony, whoa, this symphony of pleasure, creating this resonance and this fattening of the voice. Like a lot of artists, they've used it for a long time, but especially now what auto-tuning does is it spreads the voice. Like I don't know, I'll just use the word octave. Just go ahead and forgive if you're a specialist in this, or comment down below so we can all become more knowledgeable. But it's like they put a half octave above and a half octave below your voice, so it fattens it. It makes it very pleasing to the ear. So that's what they're doing. They're bringing us together in our specific area of gifting. Ooh, this one is looking at us head on. Estibus, the angel of divination, calling it forward, calling it in. You see, there are hands and feet here, but this hand's being used to go, not now. You are on point. You have direction. We've now moved through this. okay? Because look above her head. Can you see that? Okay, so there's divine order going on. You now have that assurance. You have that. It's something that if you don't have a lot of fire in your chart, might have seemed foreign at the beginning, but if you do have a lot of fire, it's that moment, that spark of creativity, of inspiration, where you feel driven, led, and moved, and you're like, we'll just figure it out as we go, but you know which direction to head in. That's what's going on here. And so it's not just for the fire signs. This is for the family. This is for all of us moving together in that. And it is like you're leading the way. I see there's this, I could say it's a bubble, but it's not. The force, this force is coming with you. The force is with you. But it's real. It's an entity. It's an energy in itself. Entity means a containment, all right? It's a containment of energy. Otherwise, energy is something that's more open, like the air around us. This would be an entity. It doesn't mean some boogeyman's coming to get you or anything, but it is this divine force, this specified measure, this understanding of direction going on here. And your heart is just starting to be seen. You've gotten the feel of it. Look at this power couple. Coming together. Oh, okay, fine. I don't know which way to turn it to show you what I see here. Sorry, visually dyslexic. Hang on. But look, that coming together. This is this is more action, and this is more knowing. This has to do with the power of your spirit. The power of your spirit is bringing it forth, like a flower blooms. All right, just the sun and the wind and the rain causes that blossom to erupt forward in the fullness of its power. And I see the earth awakening under your feet, setting humanity ablaze with this awakening. You're initiating the awakening. For the good. Don't you just love us? Y'all, others will awaken and get to see. Can you imagine the love taking over our planet? It's my hope. Been stirring in my heart and my belly for some time, but this mind is open to the divine. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm skipping the card. Okay. Hard as F times. Look at that. What is all this stuff going on over here? Let me do it that way so you can take a look. There's a bit of like shadow particles. There were some minions. There was, I could say, the bouncing of logic, but it's the bouncing of logic, the working of the mind, almost like a game of Pong or you know, ping pong or tennis. Do. And the mind working back and forth, but eventually, if you see anything like that, as it picks up momentum, it goes so fast that eventually you see it as a solid beam of light going across. It makes the bridge. Some of the earlier videos, they were giving the message of us becoming whole-minded, and that's left and right hemisphere. It can also be about the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious, but that's going to come from above. This is more the left and the right hemisphere becoming one, so that we quit fighting ourselves, quit doubting ourselves, quit questioning ourselves, quit questioning others. When you come into that state of knowing, it goes beyond beingness and it becomes amness. It is steady and stable. It moves so fast that it takes on its own form and bridges the connection on its own. So I pray your spirit be able to take that in. I got it, and I hope you got it. Okay? All right. So this energy is coming down, paving the way, making the path. Oh, I love this. This is number 4, creating order out of these particles. Let me clarify that a second more. So those particles are like plasma, is the 4th state of matter, which is what the 4 is calling for here for me to tell you. We have solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. Plasma, at last I checked, was the one thing that they haven't been able to replicate in a set environment, because it requires so much space. The energy is so expansive, but it's these tiny little particles. It's just that they need a massive amount of space around them in order to manipulate the energy to bring it in. So that's some of what was going on over here in those dots you see going on in the formation of the sun, the eye, the understanding, the moving back and forth so fast, perplexing yourself like, well, I thought I was supposed to do this. Why did it turn out so bad? What is it going on? Well, now how do I do? Do I stay near this person? Do I get rid of that person? Can you see it's like, and then eventually it goes so fast that that bridge arc forms and your mind becomes whole. And that mind connects to the heart is what it's letting me know here, because pink, let love in. But take note, my friends, of the pink and the green. Okay, one thing about tulips are they're this very elegant flower that stands erect on that stem. How that stem just stays steady through all that wind is just right up there, holding that blossom, that cup of love. So pink to me is the high heart. It's where the thymus is activated in from youth up through puberty, and then it kind of shrinks and or turns off in people. But it is why children bounce back so well, why youthful bodies heal real well, why they're all glowy and dewy and all the hormones are skittering around in there, and there's this enthusiasm and this strange time continuum that goes on, that minutes can feel like hours and hours can feel like minutes, based on whether you're enjoying yourself or being tortured by having to sit and subject yourself to something that's not your favorite. So this pink, the high heart, is our fairy tale land. It's kind of like our promised land. It's where happily ever after occurs, and walking off into the sunset, that whole thing where everything always works out. But in truth, it does. And that's the place that is wanting to start moving again. It's like they're coming to reactivate that thymus gland as we become whole-brained, which we often are, unless you've had traumatic birth or some severe trauma early in childhood. That can cause the corpus callosum, which is the membrane between the two halves of the brain, to seal up in a greater manner, like it typically starts to do around age 10 to 12, maybe in some people 14. And this membrane, this veil, this saran wrap starts to come between, I'll just do it this way, come between the two halves, except it leaves gaps and openings, unlike roadways that we use most frequently. It's like we kind of become set in our ways even at that time. And imagine wherever you live, like having to use the roads versus if you had a helicopter or an airplane. And you could just zip, boom, get wherever you're wanting to go. That's a very Mayat energy there, being able to travel through the air, thus the wings. It's that you're no longer relegated to those little pathways and all that expense of what it takes to form those, when you could just take to flight, take to the air. That's very much the high heart, the pink chakra going on here, the thymus gland, and the corpus callosum being open, being whole brain, is how quickly, it's almost like stardust, like this, like a firework, like that profusion of information, being able to communicate out to the other half, and then it answers back. And to me, it looks like if you see a photograph of the globe or a map at night when lights are on, it looks like that, like lighting up all over the place, and the communication is able to be completely received instead of forced into these little channels, which is the hard times. I see it now. You see those little channels there being forced, and how it's breaking it up into these particles. Interesting. And then it's up to us to put it together when we didn't even understand that format, what was going on in there. Okay. Well, activate my thymus. Yes, please. Whole brain. Check. Yes, please. Because that helps you fly. It helps you move with energy at the speed of light, and therefore it reduces all stress, all fatigue. And I see it like the body is thick with life. It's pulsing with life without feeling pressure or heaviness. It is intense presence. It is commanding. It's very settling and stabilizing. Wow. Okay. Let's step in. Woo! Okay. Four of Wands. Look at that. Look at that. It's the temple. It's like holy and sacred because it's divine union. It's being whole selfed. You see the whole picture and the details in it. It's when your future self and your present self and heaven on earth come together and become one. And the dwelling is here. The amness is here. And not only that, it opens and makes the way for the giftings to come. The giftings that require that state, that environment of amness in order to become realized. So we could say realized, but they're telling me realized, meaning that bridge, that arcing, that connection of energy needed to occur, that once that occurs, the awareness of the giftings steps forward. They've been there, but they weren't unlocked. They were seen as like, like flat cards. This is just a card, but when we look in and we take a look according to time and energy right now, it comes to life of its own form. That's what they're saying when heaven and earth meet. But also it's like the Temperance card. If you want to know more about that, you could tune into the Sagittarius reading, because in that we learned that the Temperance was not speaking to patience anymore. It's about process, because if we have something that we can do about this, right? How do we move through the energy without muddling it up, without, making our reality our truth? Instead, we want it to where our truth becomes our reality. It becomes form. It becomes manifest, heaven here on earth, which is good for all, okay? That when you speak this way, you speak wholly and holistically, and it's because it's like that cell. The pressure on the inside matches the outside, and people just get it because they see it. They see it when you begin to speak, they can just, that inner part, that divine part of themselves, it self speaks to self. It's that oneness that we talked about over here. Amazing. And I'm thankful right now for all those who've gone before us, who kept this spiritual communication alive, even some at the cost of their life, but all at the cost of their life, because we're spending our life at all time when we're sharing and caring. But I thank those who've gone before us for caring, so that this bridge could continue over, and that we can enjoy the shade of the trees that they planted. And not only that, but we're about to start enjoying the fruits and tasting the fruits. And once we have fruits, we have seed. And we have seed, we can reproduce. And not after our own kind, but after its own kind. Okay? Oh. So this is Malkuth. Ground the kingdom. You stand head and shoulders above the rest. And it's not about comparison or competition. It's about that perspective, that elevation, that sight of being able to see, so that those who aren't awakened, we know how to act and walk in love, and not just do what is the prescribed measure, but to imagine if instantly you came upon someone who was their spirit was sick with sadness, and you just knew what the composition of medicine of love would be to say or speak or show or share to this person that was specific for them. That moment, the moment that divine sparkle sets on end and their emptiness gets purged, that wellness comes on in, that wholeness begins to catch fire. It's like it powers up those ports, those knobs, those dials, those thingies, those thingamabobs, thingamajiggers, whatever. It and then they start powering on, and the car is crunk. It may not be driving just yet, but that's what this head and shoulders above the rest is about. It's about understanding the whole world There's a lot of responsibility that went into it. So just go ahead and give yourself a little hug and be like, thank you for believing beyond belief, for hoping beyond hope, for moving forward when you didn't think you could, for stepping over your own dead body and getting and going for another day, believing in this love, sweet love that we're talking about here. And that this family, this community of believers, of people who believe in the power of love, who believe in something that's greater than just ourselves. It's all of us coming together in this union. This, y'all, this sits over here. So in case you haven't seen it, that's my love rock. I love us. It's this. It's the usness. Because if we think about like that, that can change our direction, you know, and usher in this new beginning, this wholeness. So anyways, in this channel coming along here, it says finally free. Look at that. See how the wings of the heart and the ascension and the sun, it's all coming together. We're going to see how this all comes together here. Are you having a good time? I hope you are. I hope this energy, this new force of life is flowing up through you and just purging out that emptiness and powering you up. Activate. So let's see here. And thank you for sharing this time with me. As there's need, that it brings me into this experience as well and gives me the opportunity to go through this. It's like life wants to share this when it's shared with the whole. So I'm getting the chance to power up here, to cleanse and to clear, and to activate my thymus gland. Let's see what's going on now. It's mauve. Enjoy clear hearing. Look at those little cups, those little ears. That's lilac. Lilac has a sweet fragrance. And it's making me, it's hearkening back to over here when we talked about that voice, the voice of truth, and that this Mayot was drawing the collective together, the family together, the love family, or in this case, the joy family, right? The love that is activated and giving and receiving. It's like, it's the full connection. It's that bridge and that arc. It's whole-minded love is what joy is. That's what we are, y'all. So like the lilac it is like this one wand that comes off that has a profusion of blooms coming off of it. So it's making me think of that symphony, of that unison, the harmony, the being on the same page, the fattening of the voices, the resonance going on. If we're all saying, in essence, the same thing, because we're showing and we're living that love. We're living that highest life of joy, of doing what's best for us, right? Knowing how to be whole, that osmotic pressure to be in balance with our environment, what's going on, and to live and to walk in our truth. And that's music to my ears. Music to my ears. I think that might have been in the Sagittarius reading as well. If not, it was in Scorpio. Just in case that's ringing a bell for you. So under here, oh yes. Yes, I love this. I love this. It's the Divine Tower, y'all. Look, take a look. See? See that tower? See that communication? See that alignment going on there? This tower isn't crumbling. This tower is rising up. It is like a cell tower. It is a communication tower, like a TV tower, a radio tower. It is that antenna, and we are sending the message out over the world now as we are all getting in unison. It's happening. It's like that frequency is becoming fat enough and large enough, like radio stations, when they can buy a bigger signal, they reach a larger area. And the thing is, you know, individually we might be pretty awesome, but when love gets on the same page and we put it all together, y'all, it's reaching a wider audience. It's all saying the same thing, therefore it's truth, and that truth is becoming reality, and love is knitting us together, and it's making a difference for our world. Yeah. That hearing, it's seeing what we say. You ever heard that? Okay, so when I hit my head 18 years ago, I had to learn to see with my ears and hear with my eyes, because there were times that one wouldn't function or the other would. And your body, just like they found that people who are blind have incredible hearing. Like Ray Charles, he always wore hard-soled shoes so that he could hear the echo, kind of like echolocation that dolphins use. He could hear it and bounce off of different surfaces so he could tell how close things were to him. So it's kind of like that. It's well, they're saying being blessed, coming and going. As that you're never without, you're always with. So when someone says, I see what you're saying, that means you've painted a picture that what you're saying is coming to life in their mind's eye, right? And that's when the heart and the head, they're telling me, is connected. And we have new growth. The old stony ground, that heart is being transformed. And that we live, we walk out the very things that we believe. And because the mind is whole, it's not off point. It's acute, it's accurate, it's bullseye. It's not just target, okay? Because even the most well-intentioned person, we're often hitting the target until we have enough practice at whatever that ideology is or that practice is, that then eventually we can get to bullseye. But with this wholeness, the whole brain, the unison, the harmony, it's like together we become more perfect because the whole big picture is being seen. Getting on the same page. Finally free. And you know what I see? It's evergreen. It's not something that's going to come and go. It's something that's here to stay. Let's see how I pronounce this. I'll call it Shelly Gill. So we'll call this Shelly, the angel of snow. Let's take a look at Shelly here. So just like this one that's kind of in the dust and in some barrenness and like a harsh existence, and being able to see how to bring light and to transform our environment, that's kind of what's going on here. This is like too much heat and this is like too much cold. Okay, so they're talking about the heart right here. They're talking about the heart. And this, okay, so this just goes back and it ties in with this card Cyan. Remember when, or you could back up to it when I was talking about when we truly speak our truth and it moves through the channel of our body and our cells can hear it. It's not just about what we're saying out to others. It's medicine for ourselves because we're actually walking in it and living it. You know, we've got the divinity, the understanding of how to walk in it. That begins to heal the body. And in this case, it's saying even the heart, it will bring life to the heart. It will guard your mind. Okay, so it'll keep your heart and your mind on the same page. It'll keep your heart and your mind on the same page, that you know how to, in a sense, they're saying run with the ball. And, you know, if you've played football or if you've ever even seen it, when you're the one with the ball, it's not one-on-one, okay? You know, when they're lined up, they each have their person that they've set to guard or that they have to get past and navigate through. But once you've got the ball, it's all on you and it's all about you. And you've got to be able to dip and swing and dodge, and it's real-time, real-life energy. It's not even second by second. It's moment by moment. It's blink by blink. It's instant by instant. And you're knowing how to run with it to make the forward progress, but you're also, look at them both. You see, and these are both females here. They're like, talk to the hand. How to steer off any incoming energy that's going to try and disrupt the progress here and the process. And it's not talk, it's not mouth, it's not rude, it's not anything. It's the energy. It's not so much people. It's just being able to ward off that energy and to stay in your truth. Okay, so let's take a peek up here. We already know Love, Sweet Love is in the bottom of the deck of those handwritten cards. And then this and the choc blocking, we got chocolate, nourish your body and soul. look at that. It's richness. So, and behind it we've got gold. Let's just go ahead and peek at that baby. See this? All right. It's about that richness. This is very rich. This is a lot of information. It is that plasma that we were talking about over here. And that's why these are little particles, but they need that expanse of time and space for your spirit and yourself to work through this energy of, that form and that energy of walking this out, and what your special sparkle is that you bring to this, and how you get on the same page and to walk in love with others. But it's saying nourish your body and soul. It's like, take that time, give yourself permission to luxuriate in this, and to have this time where it moves and fully processes through your cells and your body. I hear 3 days and 3 nights. It's like, the reason why people, when they cram for a test, they can often fail. The human brain, they said, in order to create a file for your mind to retrieve, it takes a minimum 24 to 48 hours. So you have to be able to sleep on it in order to even be able to, put your hands on it, to touch it, to retrieve it. But in this case, we're talking about body, mind, and soul. So that, for me, I would think a day for each, or maybe 2 days for each, which means a whole week. Give yourself that permission, that time to just let this percolate. Just let it steep. Let it purge out that emptiness. Because almost if you go to share, it's like you stop the process. Just like these videos, when I'm loading them, I cannot do anything else to my phone. I cannot answer a text, take a call. Anything can break it. It can break that connection, kick my video out, and I have to start loading it all over again, which can be a very lengthy process. And that's what they're saying here. It could lead to that frustration. So it's not a warning. It's just a suggestion that they're saying. Is like, give it the time. Luxuriate in this. Don't even dwell or chop it up. Don't work it and try and take it into bites. This plasma, it's tactile and it's fluid. It's amniotic is basically what it is. Allow it to inundate and to transfer you back to where you're like breathing that fluid again. Just like when we were first born, when we were in the womb, that was our life source. So let this plasma, let it reconnect with yourself, okay? And let your soul, let your mind, let your body, let your spirit, and let your experience, your journey, begin to communicate about this and formulate about this. And don't make any hardcore decisions, because it's just like a puzzle. All the pieces are there, and you're manipulating and moving them around and working them together, trying to see, knowing the whole picture is there, seeing on the cover of the box. But it just takes a little time. You don't get all tense and frustrated. No, matter of fact, when you get tired, you just walk away. But you just work with it. You're just looking at each piece and moving it around. That's the kind of lax energy that this card is talking about here, of just kind of taking it in stride. And so here we have the Lord of the Wands, bottom of the deck. I hear that song, I'm up above it. That's totally what's happening. We're here, it's head and shoulders above the rest. Here it is your whole self, your whole beautiful self. You have gotten out of your own way. That's what Ganesha is. It's a remover of obstacles, and it's someone who lost their head to perceived jealousy, right? So it's like we've lost our old head and we have this new head of community, of family, of wisdom, of oneness, which is really what Elephant Tribe is about, and about that being progressive and moving forward, because you see the airplane down in the belly following the gut. It's like that, like we were talking about over here with Mayat, being able to move at the speed of light, like the whole brainness, where that half communicates, that half communicates, and you connect with yourself. It creates that arc, that bridge of possibility. So let it be. Let it am. Let it am. And, oh, I love it, because this is the cover of the box for the Angelarium. This is Yusud. It's the root connection. Look at that. And remember how we were just talking about the plasma, the amnios? That's what they talk about, this state of amness. If you knew how many years I've been walking this and the pieces and parts coming, and now, yeah. So anyways, there, you got to see it live on film. That's my epiphany. Boop. Amnios. Awesome. But we were talking about that gestating, about taking this plasma back into your lungs. Look at that. No wonder there's so many gut ailments going on, because it's, to me, the gut is connected to the lungs. It is our first brain, our primary brain. But imagine when you're at one with yourself, you're in that osmotic state of balance. The pressure is off because we've untangled these lines that just got lost in communication, right? Which is why they're moving towards whole brainness and desire that for us, and returning to that amniotic state, that plasmatic state, where we give it time for our soul, mind, and body and spirit, which is the breath that animates the three, that aligns us and gets us on the same page, and us meaning yourself within your individual self. And then as we know our individual self, we're equipped and enabled to get on the same unified page, right? That harmony, the harmonics, the symphony, the music to our ears. So, I love it. This has been fantastic. I listen back to these to be on the same side of this video as you are, to be able to hear the truth coming through, because when it's coming out my mouth, I'm not always privileged to allow it to sink all the way in, because I'm on to the next phrase and the next phrase. So I'll be joining you guys on the other side on YouTube, watching this video myself, as we move forward in this beautiful usness, so that we can have the sweetness of life, the fulfillment, the love activated, the joyousness that happens when we're all finally free and begin to live life, celebrate life. I know life is like, yes, please, I've been waiting for this. All the forces of life are here supporting us, and as we see, giving us medicine, insight. So enough of me, enough of this mouth, enough of this talking. You go take time to sit with yourself. Take those 3 days, 6 days, 7 days, 50 days, however long, I don't know. But let that thymus gland be turned on. Let that youthful radiance return, that enthusiasm that that the youth have. We can have it back. Anything's possible, right? Hey, I love you, family. You are loved, you are treasured, you are valuable, and you are bold and brilliant and uniquely you. We need you. We love you. The whole crayon box has a lot of space to be filled up with our individual identities to come together to create this beautiful magnificence that we know as life. This is Joy for Joy the World, saying bye for now.